Today, I would like you to let me ask you something, and I would like you to be honest with yourself, please. When was the last time you looked at someone else's life on social media, at a family gathering, through a conversation, and felt something shift inside of you? Something quiet and uncomfortable, a kind of measuring, a comparison that you didn't ask for, but it arrived anyway. And in that moment, almost before you realized it was happening, you were no longer thinking about your own life. You were thinking about theirs. You were now evaluating yourself through the lens of their lives. You were now subtracting things, adding things. You were finding yourself somehow behind. And it was in this moment that the heat of comparison set in. I want you to remember that time. That habit, that quiet, persistent, often unconscious habit, is one of the most effective ways to stay stuck that I have known. And today we are going to name it. We are going to understand it. And we will begin to undo it. Because comparison doesn't just steal your joy, it steals your direction. I want you to think a bit about that. So welcome back to Clean Slate, and I am glad that you are here. By now, if you've been with us since the beginning, you've done some real work, naming where you are, facing the weight you've been carrying, and beginning to reconnect with what you still have. Because honestly, not all is lost. And in today's conversation, we want to build on all of that work that we have done. And if you are new and joining us for the first time, you can still do it too. You still have time. It is up to your pace. Because one of the most consistent things that undermine the inner work that people do is comparison. You make progress in private, and then you see someone else's highlight reel, and suddenly the progress feels like nothing, feels like you haven't started. Comparison is not a character flaw. It is actually a deeply human instinct, one that evolved as a social calibration tool. Because, in small communities, comparing yourself to others helped you to understand where you needed to fit in, what you needed to learn, from whom you needed to learn, so you can position yourself effectively. But here's the problem. We were not designed for the scale of comparison that is now available to us. In previous generations, you compared yourself to about 50 or 100 people in your immediate world. Whereas today, before you can even have your breakfast, you can compare yourself to thousands of people or even a million. And that is carefully curated, professionally photographed, where they selected the edited presentation of their lives that they want to put in front of us. And we use their best moments to compare with our weak moments. So that is not a fair comparison, and it never was. But the part of your brain doing the comparing doesn't know that. It just registers the gap. I am here, they are there. You are comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight moments. Of course, you will feel behind because you are comparing your moments of pain to their moments of celebration. So here's what I want you to understand about what sustained comparison actually does to a person internally. First of all, it relocates your attention. You start focusing on what is not a priority to you. The moment you start measuring your life against someone else's, your focus has left your own life. You are no longer asking, what is mine to do? What is my next honest step? You are now asking, why do they have what I don't? What's wrong with me? Why are they getting married before me? Why are they getting successful before me? Why did they have a car before me? That is fundamentally a different question, and it leads to fundamentally a different place. You lose your direction. And secondly, it distorts your timeline. Comparison makes you believe that because someone else reached a milestone by a certain age or stage, you should have done that too. It imports someone else's path and holds it up against yours as the standard. But their path isn't your path. Their starting conditions aren't yours. Their gifts aren't yours. Their story is not yours. So you cannot be the same. And the third thing that comparison does is this, is the one people talk about the least. Comparison can make success feel threatening. There are people who stop themselves from achieving things because somewhere in their comparison habit, they've absorbed a belief that there's only so much success that is available. And apparently everybody has taken it. That someone else will diminish their own possibility of success. Someone else's flourishing is not evidence that your season has passed. It is simply evidence that flourishing is possible. And you need to perceive it and you need to receive it so that you can see it. I want to talk about envy for a moment because it is also what is birthed from comparison. And I think it deserves more honesty than it usually gets. Envy is one of those emotions people feel a lot, but rarely admit because it carries shame. We know we are not supposed to feel it. We know it says something uncomfortable about us, so we bury it or we dress it up as something else, as critique, or as disinterest, or as detachment. But here's what actually is true about envy. Envy, underneath the discomfort, often contains useful information. When you feel a sting at someone else's success, it's frequently pointing towards something you want for yourself that you don't yet believe is possible for you. So deep down, you are wondering how they actually got it, because I haven't. So the sting isn't about them necessarily, it's about you. It is about an unacknowledged desire, a deferred dream, a hope that you've stopped letting yourself hold. So envy faced honestly is not a flaw. It is a map. It points towards what you truly want. The invitation then is not to shame yourself for feeling it, but to get curious about what it is pointing towards, and then to ask, what would it mean to move towards that thing for myself in my own way in my own timeline. So practically speaking, how do you begin to break a comparison habit that may be deeply ingrained? It starts with noticing. Not immediately stopping, but noticing. Noticing when the compare impulse arises and you name it. And you start to say, okay, I'm comparing right now. That small act of naming, it creates a tiny gap between the impulse and your response. From that gap, you can ask a redirecting question. Not why do they have what I don't have, but what is mine to tend to today? What is in my sphere of control? Not am I behind, but am I moving in a direction that is genuinely mine? You owe yourself that much. The goal is not to stop caring about what others achieve. It's to stop letting what others achieve be the primary measure of what life means for you. Your life is not a race on someone else's track. You have your own course. So run it with your own pace, with your own speed, as long as it is genuine and honesty. And practically where possible, curate what you consume. An intentional audit of who you follow, what you watch, what feeds your comparison habit is not avoidance. It is wisdom. You would not keep eating food that constantly makes you sick in a general case. So you are allowed to stop consuming content that constantly makes you feel less than. You have that power of choice. So make it. And here is what I want to leave with you today. Comparison is one of the most loudest voices telling you that your story is wrong. Wrong timeline, wrong pace, wrong outcome. But the story it's telling you is not the truth. It is a distortion constructed from incomplete information. It is filtered through a bias towards inadequacy. I want you to think about that for a moment. Because the only life you are qualified to live is your own. And that life, tended faithfully, has more potential to give you than comparison will ever let you see. Now, in the next episode, we go somewhere many people avoid. We will talk about the aspect of shame, what it is, where it comes from, what it does in the dark, and how the right kind of honesty begins to disarm it. It's one of the most important conversations in this series. So stay with us. Let's make this journey worth it. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with someone. They might also be caught in the middle of a comparison spiral. Sometimes the most helpful thing you can do for a person is name what they are in. So once again, thank you for being here and sharing this moment with me. I see you, I appreciate you, and I honor you. Let's meet again in the next episode when we continue in this beautiful series. My name is Maente Skosana, and I will see you in episode 5.